In the small town of Ravenhurst, where the streets were typically quiet and the sense of safety pervasive, Officer Alex Bennett patrolled the night shift. Known for his calm demeanor and reputation for keeping the town secure, Alex's routine took a chilling turn one fog-laden evening. The night started like any other, with the flicker of street lamps casting long shadows across empty streets. Ravenhurst seemed to slumber beneath a thick blanket of mist, and the quiet hum of the police radio was the only company in the patrol car. Little did Alex know that this uneventful night would soon transform into a nightmare. A call crackled through the radio, reporting a disturbance at the abandoned Miller mansion on the outskirts of town. As Alex navigated the winding road leading to the mansion, the fog grew denser, swallowing the surroundings in an impenetrable white veil. The mansion, dilapidated and shrouded in mystery, loomed in the distance. Upon arrival, Alex hesitated at the entrance of the mansion, his flashlight cutting through the fog. The creaking door seemed to invite him into the abyss within. As he stepped into the darkness, the silence was punctuated by distant whispers, indistinct but unsettling. Inside the mansion, the air was thick with the weight of the past. Dust danced in the beam of Alex's flashlight as he explored the long-forgotten halls. The unsettling feeling of being watched lingered, and the echoing footsteps seemed to harmonize with the whispers that grew louder with each corridor. The radio crackled to life with a distorted voice, barely audible over the static. It was a plea for help, a whisper of despair that sent shivers down Alex's spine. Struggling to discern its origin, he pressed forward, the mansion seemingly expanding into a labyrinth of dread. As he ventured deeper, the architecture warped, doors leading to impossible spaces and staircases spiraling into abyssal depths. The oppressive atmosphere played tricks on his mind, distorting reality itself. Alex, a seasoned officer, found himself lost in a house that defied the laws of physics. Suddenly, a ghostly figure materialized in the shadows. A spectral woman with hollow eyes that seemed to pierce Alex's soul. She whispered of a tragic history, of lives lost and a curse that bound the mansion to eternal sorrow. The whispers transformed into anguished wails, echoing through the haunted halls. The radio came to life once more, static giving way to tortured screams. The voice, now recognizable as a fellow officer, begged for salvation from an unseen terror. Alex, gripped by a paralyzing fear, followed the agonized cries, his every step a struggle against the suffocating darkness. As he reached the source of the screams, the mansion seemed to convulse with malevolence. The walls groaned, and the air pulsed with an otherworldly energy. The spectral woman reappeared, her eyes now filled with sorrowful tears. She warned Alex of the malevolent force that had ensnared them all. The radio fell silent, and Alex found himself alone in a nightmarish void. The mansion's walls seemed to close in, a claustrophobic nightmare that distorted time and space. Desperation clawed at him, his every attempt to escape leading to more maddening twists and turns. In a final desperate bid for survival, Alex stumbled upon a room bathed in an eerie glow. At its center, a distorted figure emerged, a manifestation of the malevolence that gripped the mansion. The specter, a twisted version of his own reflection, whispered dark secrets that echoed in the emptiness. Suddenly, the mansion convulsed with a supernatural force, and Alex found himself back at the entrance. The fog outside had lifted, revealing the first light of dawn. The mansion, now a mere relic of the past, stood silent and foreboding. Alex, shaken and disoriented, struggled to comprehend the night's horrors. The radio crackled to life with the morning dispatcher's voice, inquiring about his status. As Alex stammered to respond, he hesitated, glancing back at the mansion. The spectral woman appeared in the distance, her hollow eyes fixed on him in a silent plea for release. Haunted by the echoes of that fateful night, Officer Alex Bennett continued his patrol through the now peaceful streets of Ravenhurst. The mansion, a dormant evil awaiting its next unwitting victim, remained an ominous specter on the outskirts of town, a silent reminder of the police officer horror story gone horribly wrong. In the quiet town of Hollow Creek, Officer Sarah Mitchell patrolled the streets with unwavering dedication. Known for her no-nonsense approach and commitment to keeping the community safe, Sarah's routine night shift took a sinister turn when she responded to a seemingly routine disturbance call at the old Thompson residence. As Sarah parked her cruiser in front of the darkened house, a sense of unease settled in the pit of her stomach. The Thompson residence had long been abandoned, known more for local ghost stories than any criminal activity. The neighborhood's tales whispered of strange occurrences and unexplained phenomena surrounding the old Victorian mansion. Ignoring the eerie stories, Sarah approached the creaking front door, her flashlight casting long shadows in the moonlight. The air felt thick with an unspoken tension as she cautiously entered the seemingly empty house. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the occasional groan of the old floorboards beneath her boots. As Sarah explored the dimly lit rooms, she couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. The walls seemed to close in on her, and the dust in the air shimmered with an otherworldly glow. Dismissing her unease as mere paranoia, she pressed on, determined to investigate the disturbance. In the heart of the house, Sarah discovered a room bathed in an unnatural crimson light. The air became charged with an otherworldly energy, and a low, guttural hum resonated through the room. Against her better judgment, Sarah edged closer to the source of the eerie glow. The room revealed an ancient-looking book open on a dusty table, its pages adorned with arcane symbols and cryptic writings. Unsettled, Sarah felt a strange compulsion to read the inscriptions aloud. As the last syllable left her lips, the room plunged into darkness, the crimson glow replaced by an ominous, pulsating black. Suddenly, the air seemed to twist and contort, and a ghastly figure materialized before Sarah, a shadowy specter with hollow eyes that reflected the depths of despair. The room echoed with the tormented whispers of the past, revealing a tale of betrayal, tragedy, and an unspeakable darkness that had consumed the Thompson family. As Sarah struggled to comprehend the spectral revelation, the apparition's hollow eyes fixated on her. The room echoed with anguished wails, and the temperature plummeted as an otherworldly force seized control. Panic set in as the walls seemed to bleed with shadows, closing in around her. Desperate to escape the encroaching malevolence, Sarah fled the room, only to find the once familiar corridors twisting into a nightmarish labyrinth. Each turn led her deeper into the supernatural abyss, her radio emitting only static in response to her calls for backup. The spectral presence followed her, a harbinger of the horror that had been unleashed. Sarah stumbled upon a room that seemed to defy the laws of space and time. The walls pulsated with a dark energy, and the tormented whispers crescendoed into a cacophony of despair. The ghastly figure emerged once more, its hollow eyes now filled with an insatiable hunger for Sarah's soul. In a desperate attempt to break free from the haunted maze, Sarah found herself back at the entrance of the Thompson residence. The moon hung low in the sky, casting an eerie glow on the dilapidated mansion. The specter, now a relentless pursuer, loomed in the doorway. Exhausted and cornered, Sarah faced the entity with a steely resolve. The hollow-eyed figure spoke in a chilling voice, recounting her deepest fears and secrets. The walls of the mansion seemed to close in, threatening to consume her very essence. In a final act of defiance, Sarah uttered a prayer that resonated with an ancient power. The room convulsed, and the apparition let out an agonized wail as it dissipated into shadows. The oppressive darkness lifted, and the mansion's malevolent energy receded. As dawn broke, Sarah emerged from the Thompson residence, shaken but alive. The neighborhood that had once whispered of ghostly tales was silent, unaware of the horrors that had unfolded within the abandoned mansion. The old Victorian house stood as a silent witness to the night when a routine disturbance call plunged Officer Sarah Mitchell into a supernatural abyss. Haunted by the experience, Sarah continued her patrols through Hollow Creek, a town now forever marked by the spectral horror that lurked within the shadows. The once abandoned Thompson residence became a cautionary tale among the locals, a reminder that even the most routine police calls could unravel into nightmares that defied explanation. The stories whispered about Officer Sarah Mitchell's night gone wrong would become a chilling legend in Hollow Creek, a tale that sent shivers down the spines of those who dared to remember. Officer Mark Davis, a seasoned cop in the small town of Ravens Hollow, prided himself on his unflinching dedication to duty. His calm demeanor and quick thinking had earned him the respect of the community. However, one fateful night would test the limits of his courage and challenge everything he believed about the supernatural. It began with a routine call to investigate a disturbance at the town's abandoned asylum, a place infamous for its dark history. As Mark approached the desolate building, an unsettling sense of foreboding hung in the air. The asylum, long abandoned, stood as a grim reminder of Ravens Hollow's haunted past. Navigating the labyrinthine corridors, Mark's flashlight flickered, casting eerie shadows on the peeling wallpaper. The air grew heavy with a chilling silence, broken only by the distant sound of dripping water. As he delved deeper, the temperature dropped, and the oppressive atmosphere intensified. In the heart of the asylum, Mark discovered a room with a shattered window, its broken shards casting fractured moonlight across the decaying floor. The room seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy. An old patient record lay on the floor, detailing the case of a patient named Emily Gray, who had vanished mysteriously decades ago. As Mark pondered the enigma, a ghostly whisper echoed through the corridor. The hairs on his neck stood on end as he heard his name whispered with a spectral urgency. Turning, he caught a glimpse of a fleeting figure, a pale, emaciated woman in a tattered hospital gown. Emily Gray had returned. Compelled by an inexplicable force, Mark followed the spectral figure through the asylum's corridors. The walls seemed to close in around him, the air thick with a suffocating malevolence. The whispers grew louder, conveying fragments of Emily's tormented past and the unspeakable horrors she had endured. Mark's radio crackled to life, emitting static that transformed into Emily's anguished cries for help. The chilling revelation sent shivers down his spine. Racing against the unseen threat, Mark descended into the bowels of the asylum, each step a descent into the abyss of the supernatural. In a dimly lit chamber, Mark confronted Emily's apparition. Her hollow eyes conveyed a plea for salvation, and the room echoed with the tortured wails of forgotten souls. As Mark tried to comprehend the spectral tragedy, the asylum seemed to warp, becoming a twisted realm where the line between the living and the dead blurred. The temperature plummeted as an unseen force seized Mark, pulling him deeper into the spectral dimension. The walls bled with memories of the asylum's grim history. Emily's figure transformed into a malevolent entity, her spectral form contorting with malice. As Mark struggled to break free, the malevolent force whispered promises of escape, tempting him with illusions of loved ones and distorted echoes of his past. The asylum's walls became a canvas of his deepest fears, and the boundary between reality and nightmare shattered. Back in the real world, Mark's colleagues, unable to reach him on the radio, became increasingly concerned. They decided to venture into the asylum to find their missing comrade. However, as they crossed the threshold, the asylum seemed to swallow them into its spectral realm. Mark, now a prisoner of the supernatural forces, witnessed the arrival of his colleagues, their faces etched with fear and confusion. The asylum, feeding on their collective dread, manifested monstrous entities born from the darkest corners of their minds. Haunted by their own fears, Mark and his colleagues fought against the malevolent entities that prowled the spectral asylum. The once routine investigation had devolved into a desperate struggle for survival in a nightmare realm where reality and terror coexisted. In the end, the asylum claimed its victims, leaving behind a town forever scarred by the horror that unfolded within its decaying walls. Ravens Hollow, once a tranquil community, now harbored a dark secret, a supernatural malevolence that preyed on those who dared to enter the haunted asylum. Mark's disappearance became a chilling legend among the townsfolk, a cautionary tale whispered in hushed tones. The asylum, forever cursed, stood as a grim monument to the police officer horror story gone horribly wrong, a reminder that some mysteries are better left untouched in the shadows of the supernatural.